share some slides with you and take you through some information in relation to the MSc in International Accounting Business in the DCU Business School. So hopefully you can now see my slides. Okay, so as some of you may be more familiar with possibly the program code. The program code is DC526. So if you're looking for information on the various web pages, you can either search by the title or by the actual program code. As Sarah mentioned, my name is Dr. Breed Murphy. I'm a lecturer in the DCU Business School and I'm the program director for this MSc in International Accounting and Business program. And my contact details are included on the slide there. So before I take you through some program specific information, I'm going to give you a little bit of background about DCU first of all, and also a little bit of background about the DCU Business School. So for those of you who may not be familiar with DCU, the DCU acronym stands for Dublin City University. So as you may have guessed, DCU is located in Dublin. For those of you who may not be familiar with Dublin, Dublin is a capital city. It's one of the EU capital cities. It's an English-speaking city and it is a multicultural city. So we'll talk more about that in just a minute. In terms of DCU, as Sarah indicated there, the DCU Business School is an accredited, top accredited business school among the top 5% in the world. As a university, DCU is quite a young university. It's 40 years old, but has a reputation as one of the top young universities of the world and has a very high profile in various rankings. One of those rankings of which we're most proud is that it's ranked 19th in the world for graduate employment. So that's something we've worked really hard to achieve in terms of our programs, but also in terms of our working with employers and looking ahead to different roles in the workplace as well. More broadly, we're recognised as a University of Enterprise, both locally in Ireland and also globally. And a lot of that is because we have really strong links that are really important to us with other academic institutions, both in Ireland and globally, but also with a number of large employers, both in Ireland and locally, and also with smaller Irish Indigenous companies as well. In terms of Dublin, for those of you who may not be familiar with Dublin, Dublin is a really welcoming city. It is a very safe city. It is, excuse me, sorry folks, my IT is glitching. It is a very welcoming city. As you're probably familiar, the Irish diaspora live in many countries all over the world, and the Irish are very well known for their hospitality, or the Céad Míle Fáilte, as we might call it. Geographically, we're known as a gateway to Europe, so we have a lot of global entities, a lot of multinational entities who have their base in Ireland, and they see that very much as a gateway into the EU and into the broader Europe space. In terms of the actual location per se, Dublin, as you may be familiar with, is located at the edge of the sea, so it's very close to various beaches. It's close to lots of different urban and rural different landscapes. So we have the mountains, we have countryside very, very close by. So it's quite dynamic in terms of a workspace or an education space. For those of you who may be interested in the cultural or arts aspects, Dublin has a lot to offer. And normally there's a lot of festivals, indoor and outdoor festivals. A lot of those have obviously curtailed with COVID at the minute, but there's lots going on even in a more virtual space currently also. Those of you who are familiar with Dublin may also be familiar with it as a tech hub. So it's very much as a leading city and would be well known in the space in the EMEA context, the European, Middle East and African context. So very well known as a leading hub for that. And we have a number of large multinational players in Dublin, such as Google, Facebook, LinkedIn, Microsoft, and so on as well. In terms of urban life in Dublin, it's got a very vibrant feel to it, and it's very much a cosmopolitan EU capital city. Okay, so then moving on to look more closely at the business school. So what are we known for in the DCU Business School? We're known for producing leaders, current leaders and future leaders. So those who can operate both nationally and also in the global marketplace. We have worked very hard to make sure that our courses are well designed and well developed and continue to adapt so that the graduates that we produce are leading edge, if you like, and they're very much work ready. So we're very much, I suppose, working in tandem with industry stakeholders, making sure that our graduates are employable. And to that end, I suppose that's why we've achieved one of the top world ranks for graduate employability. Within the business school, then, we have a number of different values which we, I suppose, which we live by, if you like. One of those is the issue of collegiality and inclusivity, and that is both for staff but also for students. So we have students from a good number of countries all over the world. They mix with their own cohort, but they also mix with a number of other cohorts as well. And we have a lot of activities outside of the syllabus and the program-led activities as well. Ultimately, we're preparing our students for the world of work, and to that end, a lot of our modules have been designed to, excuse me folks, a lot of our modules have been designed with a focus on the world of work. So there's very much a spirit of engagement with enterprise throughout a number of our modules, and indeed through all of our programs in the DCU Business School. We're also we have a very high profile in relation to academic endeavours and scholarly activities, and we have a lot of different research activity and have won a lot of different research funding across a number of domains within the DCU Business School. Moving down the slide then, just to highlight, I suppose, that we live by a code of behaviour, if you like, within the business school, and that permeates through our programmes as well. We're very much global in outlook, and we achieve that to a large extent by different engagements with other universities in other countries, but also with global players in the work marketplace as well. So just to give you some statistics in relation to the business school, to give you maybe perhaps a better overview of the profile of the business school. On the left hand side here, we can see that there's a huge diverse range of students and faculty. So we have over 3,000 students in the business school, and almost 800 of those are postgraduate students coming from a number of different nationalities. To date, we have almost 20,000 graduates of DCU Business School programs. So there's a huge alumni all over the world that you can, as students of DCU, can tap into. Looking at the middle section there, just in relation to our research impact, we're very successful in relation to various funding competitions. We have a number of research centres in the business school which are very much forward looking, and again our students can tap into those. We have an Institute of Digital Business, we have an Institute of Entrepreneurship, and we have an institute which looks at talent and creating and fostering talent for the future as well. To the right hand side of the screen there, you can see the extent of our industry engagement. A good number of business school students complete various workplace intra placements during the course of their studies, and we also organise a number of different networking activities for our students so that they can engage with employers during the course of their studies as well. Down towards the bottom of that slide are just some highlighted accreditations that we have in the business school. Sarah has already mentioned the AACSB accreditation at the bottom there. Probably quite particular to this programme are some of the accreditations we have with the various professional accounting bodies. So Chartered Accountants Ireland and ACCA are referenced here, and I'll be coming back to those in just a minute as well. Okay, so maybe moving on to look more closely at the programme then. So the programme, for those of you who may not be familiar with its context, is effectively a conversion programme which caters for students who have not studied accounting at a specialist level previously. So it's effectively a conversion type programme. It's a level 9 programme, so it's effectively awarded at a master's level. The subject matter of the programme is quite innovative in that it combines half of the credits from accounting focused materials and half of the credits from more general business focused materials. The programme is a full-time programme. It runs over the course of one full academic year over 3 semesters. So your typical semesters 1 and 2, and we then have a third summer semester as well. So it's effectively a 12-month programme. And really during the course of that 12 months, what students do is they effectively they're combining study for a level 9 master's award, but they're also gaining exemptions from the professional accounting body. So we'll talk more about those in just a minute. So really there's a professional focus, there's also an academic focus with a master's accreditation, and there's also an industry dimension which we'll explore further also. So just in terms of some of the feedback from our various stakeholders, we work very closely with a number of stakeholders. And again, for the design and development of the program, we keep in touch with our various stakeholders. So I just have a quote here from ACCA, who many of you will be familiar with as one of the leading global professional accounting bodies. And so what they have said about our program: the business element complements the technical components. There's quite a lot of technical accounting components which are required by the professional bodies, but they are complemented in turn by the various business elements. And ultimately, these help to ensure graduates will not only have the necessary technical skills to succeed, but also other skills which enable them to succeed in a wide variety of business careers. Okay, so what would students study on this particular program? So I've highlighted the structure of the program. As you can see, it runs over the 3 semesters. Again, the semester 3 being a summer semester. I've color coded this element. So everything in black is effectively an accounting module, and everything in red is a business module. So half of the credits are in black, which are the accounting focused modules. Half of the credits are in red, which are our business focused modules. Okay, so we'll take a closer look at the accounting focused modules firstly. So the accounting focused modules, you can see, comprise 5 different modules: 2 in relation to financial accounting and reporting, 2 in relation to management accounting, and 1 in relation to financial management. So ultimately, the design and development of the program around the accounting modules is to foster a capability in students to be able to prepare relevant information, organize, package, analyze, interpret, and communicate relevant information. And that can be to a wide variety of stakeholders. So in the context of the subject matter, as you saw on the previous slide, it's focused around 3 key components. The first of those is in relation to financial accounting. So this is developing students' technical competence to deal with identifying relevant knowledge, relevant information, organizing it and presenting and communicating it in a way that's relevant to those stakeholders outside the organization. So it's really for information that might be included for external stakeholders, and it's the type of information included perhaps in a company's annual report or an organization's annual report that might be posted up on their web pages. So that's one distinct focus, and that's seen as very significant because, again, it's something that is quite public in terms of its information capacity, but also one required by the professional accounting bodies. The second dimension then is focused around the internal needs and the internal information needs of an organization. So producing information, identifying what might be relevant information to support management to develop their strategies, to implement their strategies, to make decisions in relation to a number of competing alternative pathways and strategies and so on. So helping management, supporting them both strategically and operationally as well. And the third accounting dimension then is focused more around the finance component. So looking to see how organizations might raise finance, how they might allocate finance in the most efficient and effective manner, and looking to see how they might reward their shareholders, looking at dividend policy decisions, investment decisions, and so on as well. So a number of different components within the accounting dimension. All of these are focused around professional exemptions. So students who successfully complete the program will achieve certain professional exemptions. So what I've highlighted here are the professional exemptions with 2 of the leading accounting bodies. One is ACCA, who's one of the leading global bodies, and the second is Chartered Accountants Ireland, who's the leading body, professional accounting body in Ireland. So the exemptions that students who successfully complete this program can gain are as follows. So for ACCA, students can gain 6 subjects, all at foundation stage. So these are listed here. So when a student seeks to gain an ACCA qualification, they ultimately have to complete 13 exams. 6 of those are effectively completed during the course of the master, so they're deemed exempt. So students would then have an additional 7 exams to complete prior to admission as a full member of the body. In relation to the Irish Institute, students gain 3 subjects at CAP 1, so competency assessment and proficiency level 1, and those are listed here. Okay, so again, those of you who may be more familiar with those will understand the context of the professional exemptions, and indeed ACCA and Chartered Accountants Ireland have quite a lot of information in relation to their exemptions and the exemption process on their web pages. And just before we move on to look at the business component, I suppose I just want to address the issue of accounting in DCU. I want to highlight that we have a very strong reputation in the DCU Business School in relation to educating accountants and educating future accountants. And we have alumni of accounting programs from the school employed at the highest level, both in Ireland and overseas. So we have quite a strong network of alumni within the accounting arena. 95% of graduates from our accounting programs secure graduate contracts, be they to train as accountants, if you like, and complete their professional route in that way, or with other businesses. So again, we have a really strong employability rate within accounting and accounting programs in the DCU Business School. Also important to note the fact that graduates tend to be placed, so a good number of our past graduates of our accounting programs in the DCU Business School tend to be placed in professional exams with ACCA, with Chartered Accountants Ireland, with various tax institutes and so on. So just to note that. And all members of our professional accounting team are professionally qualified in the school. The other arm of the program then focuses on business. So I'm going to take you through the items highlighted here in red. So we effectively have 3 business modules, if you like. 2 of those are completed over the course of the first 2 semesters, and the 3rd is completed during the summer semester. So we'll take a closer look at what's involved in each of those. So ultimately, in designing the program and engaging with our various stakeholders, it was seen that the need to be able to apply accounting skills to the wider business context was very important, becoming increasingly important in the marketplace. So to that end, the 3 subjects and the 3 modules that are specific to the business end of the program are very much focused around skills that are important in the workplace today and that are deemed to be important in the workplace of the future. So the program very much focuses around analytical skills and dealing with information. We now live in an information age, so it's increasingly important that students and graduates of our programs can deal with information in a variety of formats and use that information to make optimum decisions. The second arena that was deemed very, very significant was the area of consulting competence. So applying particular discipline-specific expertise and knowledge to real-world issues. So being able to apply what might be learned in the classroom, perhaps in a theoretical framing, to a real-life issue. So we'll talk more about that in just a minute. And the 3rd area of focus then was to develop management competencies so that our graduates could develop successful careers and equip them with the tools that they needed to grow in their various careers. So again, we'll take a closer look at that. So we have 3 specific business modules focused around these skills. In addition to that, we've built in a number of other competencies, what I would refer to as meta competencies, overarching umbrella competencies, and these are built into all of our modules. So competencies such as critical thinking, integrative reasoning, team building, collaborative thinking, creating, sharing, applying knowledge. So all of these things are important in the workplace, and again, they're important on all of our modules, and particularly in the context of our 3 business modules. So we'll take a closer look at our 3 business modules. So the first of those modules is a data analytics module. So that particularly looks at students' capability for dealing with information. So students learn a number of different pieces of technology. They complete proficiency in technology, so you get completion certificates for a number of different tools on the program, and that helps you deal with information. So it's very useful, and what we've found from employers is that it's no longer sufficient for students just to engage with Microsoft tools and be proficient in Excel spreadsheets and so on. Employers are now looking for something more, and they're looking for students to be able to adapt to a range of technology. So that's why that particular module has been included. The second module, which I'm going to take a closer look at in the next slide, is the module which looks at developing management competency. So that's referred to as next generation management, or NGM. And the third module is focusing around consulting skills, which is an applied research project, which we refer to as Practicum. So here students are required to engage in a real life piece of research. So they deal with a real life client, and they deal with a real life client problem, and they go through a process of research and a process of inquiry, and they develop a solution and present that solution to a client. So it's a really practical module, and again, it's something which is really, really important to the workplace. So we're going to take a closer look at the management module and the applied research module just more closely. So firstly, the next generation management module, commonly known as NGM within the business school. So this is quite a substantial module. It carries a weighting of 20 credits on the program. So 20 of the 90 credits on the program are focused around management skills and building up the necessary skills and focusing, I suppose, on students' capability and capacity to further develop these skills once they graduate from our program. So the aim of this particular module is to develop students and graduates who are digitally competent. So obviously, digital and information is a huge factor in the workplace. So being able to grow in roles, focusing around that is going to be really, really important for our graduates. Graduates also have to be able to identify their own pathways and their own career pathways. So again, building self-awareness around that and building the capacity for continuous development and career development is again something that's embedded in this particular module. Being a reflective thinker and be able to reflect on the working and positioning of the role of the individual, graduate or manager in the context of the organization or in the context of whatever might be going on more widely in society, again, is seen as something very important. And I suppose the other key things here are working in diverse teams. A lot of us are now working remotely, so we're working with team members we may not have already met. So again, it's employing those capacities and competencies to be able to do that well, and to stay connected in the, I suppose, the changing environment within which we operate. So to that end, the module is built around 4 themes as follows. So the first is digital skills, which I suppose is very much follows on from what I've talked about, dealing with information in a digital age. The second is research skills. So a lot of the capacity here will also feed into the applied research project. And the latter half of that quadrant then is focusing around personal and career development. So looking at growing a career, a sustainable career after graduating from the program. The fourth dimension then is looking at business and society. So understanding how business is changing, looking at that context and looking to see what might be sustainable into the future. So to that end, we're mindful of the fact that a lot of students will embark on different pathways. So there's a huge amount of, I suppose, reflection and awareness on the module. And students effectively can select their own learning and their own pathways within this module. So they effectively develop their own set of activities. So the set of activities for each student will be individual to that student. So students, you may hear talk of pods. So they're the personal opportunities for development, and they're very much pertinent to this particular module. So I've highlighted some sample activities here, but it's really up to students to formulate and direct their own pathway on this. And to that end, we require students to complete a number of self-reflections, so that at the end of the module they have quite a significant portfolio which they can bring with them and which can be very useful for growing their future career, but in particular, I suppose, for the initial years post the program. Okay. So ultimately, the objective with this is to help students to be more self-aware, to better manage themselves, better manage those around them, and ultimately succeed and get things done. The other module I just want to take a closer look at then is the applied research project, and we commonly refer to that as a practicum in the DCU Business School. So this practicum is effectively an applied research project, so it's taking theory and the learnings from the program and applying them to a real life client situation. So it's akin to a consultancy project, but it is nonetheless an academic project, and it meets the criteria for a master's level 9. So it's not a work placement per se, in that the students will not be working on client premises. They will be working largely in a face-to-face environment within the business school in DCU, but now students will tend to be working more remotely in their own homes in the COVID context, but hopefully in a year's time, if you're to embark on the program, we'll be back in a face-to-face context. So typically students participate on these projects in teams. So this team will typically comprise 4 or 5 students, and you will be allocated a supervisor, a coordinator, and a particular client company. So you'll work very closely within your teams with your advisor within DCU and also with your representative from your client entity. In terms of the timeline, I've just highlighted the overall timeline for the practicum here. So typically the listing of companies of clients is finalized around Christmas time, and the project is effectively launched in January. So students become aware of who their client is in January, and they do a certain amount of groundwork during the course of the coming months, and they obviously take a break for exams and so on around May, and then a lot of the more, what I would consider the more heavy lifting, is completed during the course of the summer. So ultimate submission and presentation takes place in August. So there will be a submission to DCU, and there will also be a client submission as well. So then maybe just to give you a little bit of context and a little bit of background in some of the prior examples of practicums in the school. So we have a range of client companies. So from year to year, clients will have different needs, and the scope of their projects will tend to vary. So I've just highlighted some past practicums here. So client companies can range from multinationals to more homegrown companies. They can be startups, they can be very established companies looking to develop new products or develop new areas of business or new strategies. We have a lot of companies on DCU campus companies, so we have a big focus there in terms of supporting those companies and those companies using the facilities within DCU. Equally, chambers of commerce or other enterprise bodies or other areas within industry also approach DCU to engage in these practicums. So there's a wide variety of clients. Equally, there's a wide variety of topics, so the problems, if you like, that the clients approach DCU with and the students engage with and produce a solution can be many and varied. So I've just highlighted a number of these here. All of these would, however, have an accounting and finance dimension, because typically any advice or any guidance or any solution that is being looked for by the client will require some financial information, and a lot of accounting projections and assumptions have to be built in. So some past examples here: firm expansion or firm diversification, new product line, new jurisdiction of market offering, whatever it might be. Looking at consumer behavior, different marketing strategies, some HR issues, so looking at how all of that dimension might be better organized. And currently we're seeing a lot of focus around technology and technology adoption. And obviously a lot of companies and a lot of organizations have had to go online with COVID over the last 11 months or so. So there's a bigger focus, I suppose, in terms of looking at technical aspects and technology adoption. On the right hand side of the slide there, I've just included an example of what a sample sum up of a practicum report might look like. So it's really just, I suppose, taking you through the different steps involved in the practicum process. So the overview, what the client problem was, who the key stakeholders were, what the key themes for discovery were, what the ultimate recommendations or the solutions for the client were also. Okay, so that's a quick snapshot of the various elements involved in the program. The other thing I suppose I would just like to highlight too are some of the student experiences. So what have students indicated about the program? So these are just some sound bites which give you a flavour to that end. So we've had a number of international participants on the program. So coming to DCU and being made feel very welcome is something that I suppose that has been very important to us, and obviously the students feel it's important that it's something that works quite well. The fact that there are various scholarship opportunities, and I'll touch on those again in just a minute, is obviously important and very significant as well in terms of day-to-day expenses. This quote, wherever I work in the future, I will always have this quality mark behind my education. So having the DCU brand, DCU business school in particular being one of the top 5% in the world business schools, it's something that's seen as really important and seen as something which is very transportable beyond the university and into global markets as well. And the last quote, I suppose, is just in relation to the employability aspect. So a lot of students would typically be looking for the next step during the course of their program and would work very closely with our DCU Career Service. So a lot of students very successful in seeking various graduate jobs, graduate roles before they even finish the program. Okay, so other things I suppose just might be important that you may want to follow up on. I just highlighted there are various other student voices that you can tap into, and they're available on the DCU web pages. I've just included the link here, which I'm sure will be circulated to you if it hasn't already been. So just in terms of employability, this is a question I always get asked. So I've mentioned the fact that DCU ranks very highly in terms of graduate employment. The DCU Business School is very, very high. So it's over 95% in terms of graduate employability. So again, it's just something to be mindful of. And even going through the COVID times and so on, we're finding that our students are being placed. It's probably a slightly different recruitment process in that it's all remote, but our students are still retaining the employability status, if you like. In terms of who our employers are, we have a wide range of different employers. Some of those will be well-known Irish names, some of those will be overseas names, and others of those may not be known to you, may be new to you. So just to highlight, I suppose we have a huge range of employers, both nationally and globally also. So then maybe just to look at the housekeeping requirements around the program. In terms of the entry requirements, the entry level is a second class honours upper award in any level 8 degree or equivalent. Okay, so it doesn't need to be in accounting, it doesn't need to be in business, so it's from any discipline, if you like. For students whose first language may not be English, there are also some language requirements. These are all listed on the DC web pages. I've just included a snapshot here. So the IELTS requirement is a score of 6.5 or above, and there are some more detailed requirements within that you can review on the DC web pages. During COVID times, we also have temporary measures. So mindful of the fact that some English language test centres may not be open, DCU is also accepting Duolingo. So again, there are some minimum requirements which are highlighted here. So again, you can follow up on those on the DC web pages. And again, I think the link is probably going to be circulated to you. Other questions I typically get asked are in relation to scholarship opportunities. So there are a number of scholarship opportunities. So depending on what your background might be or where you're coming from, there may be different opportunities available to you. And what I would suggest you do is you look more closely at the DC web pages and then follow up with myself or alternative in relation to any queries you may have. Okay, and sorry folks, my system is just glitching here. The only other piece of information I think might be important just to highlight at this point is just in relation to fees. The fee information is included here. So the EU fee information is it's all included on our DCU fees pages, but the fee is 9,955 and the non-EU fee is €16,000. Okay, so further information is available on the web pages. In terms of applications, all applications are online. So I've included the link here in relation to initiating an application. If you have any queries in relation to the application or any part of the process, I've included my my contact details here. Okay, so I think that's pretty much it in terms of the information I need to impart to you. The only other thing I suppose is just to get connected and stay connected with the DCU Business School, and we have various forms of social media. All of the relevant details are included and will be circulated to you. Okay, so all that remains for me is to say thank you very much for attending. There will be a number of other events which I'm sure will be brought to your attention. If there are any specific information that pieces of information you need, please send me an email or link in with us on social media. Okay, so thank you very much.
Thanks, Breed. Lots of